Alright, what's up YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys with the last of the Yosenju deck profiles. This one is pure Yosenju, and I'm taking aspects of Yosenju from all of the things in Yosenju. I'm talking high level monsters, I'm talking pendulum, and I really wanted to get a full grasp on this deck because it is legitimately one of my favorite um, win decks outside of Harpie Lady, and it's just so long because it's very hard to find a lot of cards these days. If there we go, because the screen itself was falling over and I don't want to. Sure, all right, there it goes. So it's still stable. So yeah, it's a very hard deck of cards to find. It isn't too I want to say it's easy. Well, it's not, it wasn't easy. Let me just tell you that. But it is a fun deck that I do enjoy, and I wanted to build it for you guys because I knew um, with the other two variations of this deck, I was going to get some appeal out of that, and now I want to get appeal from this final version. If there are any more versions, I'll probably wait till either the end of the month or I'll wait till January to build. But at that point, the Harpie stuff will be coming out, so that's going to be my priority and focus then. So, to get this out the way, let's get started. Alright, so for the monster lineup, I am running 3 copies of Yosenju, 1, 3 copies of Yosenju, 2, 3 copies of Yosenju, 3, 3 copies of Yosenju Sujik, 3 copies of Yosenju Kodam, and then 2 copies of Yosenju Senshu R, 2 copies of Yosenju Senshu Left, and 2 copies of My Yosenju, My Yosenju Darok. So that's all of the Yosenjus. That's all of the monsters in the main deck. For the spells, I'm running 3 copies of Yosen Training Ground, 3 copies of Fire Formation Tanking, and then 1 copy each of Raigeki, Dark Hole, and Monster Reborn. So that's it for the spells. And then for the traps, I am running 3 copies of Yosenju Secret Move, 3 copies of Storming Warforce, 2 copies of Solemn Strike, and 1 copy each of Solemn Judgment and Solemn Warning. So that is it for the spells. So the main deck, sorry. This is spells. That is it for the main deck. And give me just one little second. Gotta organize these things together. And now let's talk about the extra deck. Which I did do a bit of a change to it, and I'll explain the reasons why when I go back to it. 3 copies of Grey Fly, 2 copies of Firefighting Daruma Doll, uh, 1 copy of Lightning Chidori, Tornado Dragon, Castel, Phantasmal Dragon, and I added in a Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. I dropped 1 Cowboy to put in Utopia, Utopia Prime, Babuska, and Heartland Draco. So that's pretty much it for the main and the extra deck, and now I'm going to go over the choices. So, Yosenju, as we all know, Beast Warrior Beatdown. What most people don't know is that Yosenju actually did have pendulum scales in Pendulum Monsters. So, pretty much what the origin of the deck is of course, you're going to utilize the effects of comma 1, 2, and 3. You get a full range out of Yosenju Tsuchik as not only your honest, but an attack boost. And then you have little Kodam. Kodam is a level 1 beast warrior monster, 0 attack and defense. When it comes to the field, you contribute it to give Yosen Training Ground 3 Yosenju counters. Then you can banish it from your graveyard to get an additional normal summon of a Yosenju monster for that turn, in addition to your normal summon or set of that turn. So how it works out is it works in combination with the Yosenju commas 1, 2, and 3, where they have the ability to normal summon another Yosenju monster from your hand, in addition to the normal summon that they are. And then you can flood your board with a ton of Yosenju monsters. You can pop Kandoma to give Yosen Training Ground its additional counters. And then you can swap those counters out to either search for a card, put a card back from the graveyard to the hand, or search your deck for a card and add it to hand. That has Yosenju in its name. The only downside is you have to really thin your deck out to go get Yosenju Training Ground. I was deciding on putting back in Pot of Dualities because this deck doesn't really special summon. It's for focus on its normal outside of its pendulum scales. So if I ever wanted to not pendulum summon, which is not a problem, I can just go for a beat down variation with each of the level 4 Yosenju monsters, and it's not too hard with these guys. So Inkodam just makes it a lot easier. Now let's talk about the pendulum scales. So the first two monsters we're going to talk about are Yosenju Senchu left and Yosenju Senchu right. First off, they're not beast warriors. They're not beast monsters. They're actually rock attribute. They're rock type. They both have no attack. They have 2100 defense. They both have the ability that your Yosenju monsters can't be destroyed by water on the field. Like hard, yeah, your opponent cannot target one for attacks, and the other one says they cannot be targeted by effects, which is great because most of the time you're gonna probably have these on the pendulum scales. But if they're ever P's and monsters, they come to the field, they switch to defense position, and then your opponent with R, your opponent's forced to attack it, and with L, your opponent cannot target your opponent's monster. Your opponent cannot target your Yosenju monsters except if with card effects. So it's good defenses there. Now let's talk about their pendulum effects. Yosenju L has the ability to destroy itself when your monsters would be destroyed by card effects. Then, or by battle. And then Yosenju Senchu R has the ability of changing a pendulum scale on the field to 11. But you need to have another pendulum monster that is Yosenju in your other pendulum scale, which isn't going to be too hard because you're playing L. In rare cases, you have Bach. Now, the benefit to this is that you get a wide scale between a possible 3 to 11. The only downside is you're forced to play nothing but Yosenju monsters when you activate this effect, so you can't exceed, and you can't link summon because we don't have a link or an exceed monster or any monster in the extra deck that is focused on Yosenju. So you can pretty much just opt out for a lot of the big guys. Also, another thing you can do is you can play Divine Wind of the Mist Valley in this deck and start summoning these guys to the field and getting their effects, their defensive effects as well. So it's something that you can also look into. One more thing before I swip over to the next monster is the artwork of both L and R. As you can tell, you can see all 7 of the main Yosenju monsters. Right here on the stone that is attached to these monsters. You see the level 7, the 6, and the 5 on L, and then on R, you see all 3 of the level 4 monsters. You see comma 1, 2, and 3. And then you see the big guy, Bach, who we're going to talk about right now. Actually swap over. So, my Yosenju Bach, level 11, 10 Beast Pendulum Effect monster. So he has his normal effect and he has his pendulum effect. So his pendulum effect is when a Yosenju monster you control declares an attack, have that monster gain 300 attack until the end of the battle phase, which is great because it can boost up your Yosenju monsters so they can swing at things that they normally couldn't. Combine that with Tsuchik, and you have some pretty big powerhouses. Now, its main effect. This card cannot be summoned except for special summon except for pendulum summon. So you can't reborn it or anything like that. Unless the card says ignore the conditions of that monster. Then, when this card is in the pendulum zone, while this card is pendulum summon, it can't be negated, which is great. If this card is normal special summon, you can target up to 2 cards on the field, return those cards to hand. Then once per turn, if this card is special summoned, return it to your hand. So, it does have a cost of having to return itself back to the hand, but surprise, surprise, pendulum summon it, and then your opponent loses 2 cards by returning them to hand. Not destroy, return. So that helps with a lot of cards that say this card cannot be destroyed by effect, this card cannot be destroyed by battle and stuff like that. It's actually one of the highest attack monsters you'll see you have with a whopping 300. So this is technically their boss monster. If you're not going for the little rank 4 engine and stuff, this is one of their biggest hitters. They have a level 5 that's 2,000. The level 6, I believe, is 24, and the level 7, um, which I believe is also it's either 28. I know none of them hit over Bach. It's pretty much the biggest hitter in the deck. But honestly, with the scale range you can get, you can easily summon this card through Pendulum Summon. That's also why I'm glad I have the Gravefly and the Rumadal, because it can assist on putting this guy to the board, giving it the additional attack and defense from Gravefly, and utilizing all of its abilities is not too hard. Even though it goes back to the hand during the turn it was summoned, you have enough defensive cards to protect yourself when your Yosenju monsters leave the field that have that ability of returning themselves to hand. For the rest of the deck, of course, we have the Yosenju Training Ground, which comes in handy with all the monsters you're going to be summoning and putting the counters on it. You can either give monsters their additional attack power, or you can search for your retrieve from your graveyard or your deck for a monster. In addition, Tinky is also a good way to search out for a lot of cards. That's also why I was telling people, if you have any of the Fire Formation cards, like the Exceed monsters, try using them, especially the ones that can use Beast Warrior monsters to summon themselves. I know it contradicts the deck because it's mainly wind. Do utilize what you can to get your Fire Formation cards. You can also use some of the other spells and traps like Sensu, Tenkin, um, yeah, they have a range of these Fire Formation cards. So do utilize them as best as you can with as much abilities as you can. Other than that, I mean, Regeki Dark Hole still drives with cards. Yosenju Secret Move. With all these Yosenju cards, you're not going to have anything on the field that isn't Yosenju. You're going to get a real good use out of it. So, never let that down. Very good in defensive card. You can always put in Drowning Mirror Forces if you don't like Storming. I just prefer Storming because it returns and it fits on with the concept of returning stuff instead of destroying it. Uh, Drowning Mirror Force would also be a good option, especially for direct attacks, because you're not going to have much of a field if you let your monsters go. So, it was a good option there. And other than that, I did just up the ratio for the solemns. Instead of the 3, it's now the 2 and the 1 ofs. So, yeah, that's that little bit of setup right there. And then as far as the extra deck goes, so I'm not putting all the extra deck monsters on, especially the multiples. As we know, Gravefly and Daruma Doll are 2 of the essentials that this deck can utilize. Having a Beast Warrior monster to control when your monsters go here and there, the ability to pop stuff to get rid of spells and traps, and then you have Gravefly, who's just all around good in any wind deck, giving the additional 500 attack and defense, retrieving a wind monster from the graveyard, just helps, helps out tremendously. Then, well, we all know my staple setup for a wind engine, minus the Ice Beast Zero Fine. I mean, technically, we have 4 great wind monsters here that have great access to with Yosenju. You have Castell, Chidori, Tornado, and Phantasmal. Even though Phantasmal is a Harpie card, the fact that a monster that can't be targeted or for battle or card effects is great. It can beat over things for 2,000 points, and you can just swarm the field again with all the other Yosenju monsters. And like I said, this deck has recovery thanks to Training Ground. You can also put in quill pins and stuff like that you see in my other decks profiles for Yosenju to really help this deck get back a lot of its utilities. So that's them. Now let's talk about why I don't have a certain particular monster. So I gotta look for a Utopia of the Lightning, and then I can have the Utopia set, and then it drop the Dark Rebellion tracking from this, because that's technically what Dark Rebellion is supposed to be. He's supposed to be Utopia the Lightning. Well, he's in place here because he can at least shrink your opponent's highest attacking monster, give him the attack strength, and then he can beat over stuff. That's pretty much what Utopia the Lightning is. It's a beat stick that has the ancient gear effects. So it's not too bad of a monster. And Yosenju can easily go into it because everybody in the deck is 4. And you just plot the Utopia the Lightning on top. Um, I was considering running a second one, only because of the fact that I figure it would be an issue if they Solemn Strike or Solemn Judgment the Judgment Warning, or find a way to just remove the Utopia with ease. But I think for right now, I'm just going to have it at this till I get the Lightning. And then probably next time I do a Yosenju deck profile, hopefully I have a Lightning, and hopefully I can put all of them together in the deck. So other than that, I mean, pretty much the extra deck is still the same as where it was, with the last 3 monsters being in here. So that's pretty much it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed all the Yosenju deck profiles that I've done. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to answer. And this is pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. HPJ signing out. Take care.